That's so quiet in comparison to the theme tune.
I've actually turned it down to like regular because I used to have it like max volume. I've actually turned it down a bit.
Oh, even then I could hear there was bits clipping.
I was there. Am I clipping a bit?
No, you're not clipping, but the theme tune was.
Oh right, it was maxing out, was it?
Well, it sounded like it. But then again, well, I don't know. Proof in the pudding, an audience can do this as well. Listen back to the Fortean Words podcast.
That's on www.anchor.fm/Fortean Words.
There you go.
Yeah. And this week on the news, we've got Nazi gold. We have mystery liquid found inside a 2,000-year-old pot. What else is interesting? Underground entrances to Area 51 discovered, and there's a leprechaun whisperer who was interviewed on live TV. And then whatever else Hobbit fancies reading about.
Yeah, that's true, because I haven't been reading any woo-woo today. All I saw of interest was they're going to build a tunnel. Wow, this could lead to potential woo-woo because there's ancient things hidden there. A tunnel to link Malta to Gozo, and it's going to be a long tunnel, and it's not going from one coast to another coast. It's going from like the middle of one island to the other to avoid major traffic bottlenecks.
Is that Gozo the Traveller? Gozo the Traveller has come. Ghostbusters.
I didn't know about that, but that's the thing. Apparently, the locals don't call it Gozo. They've got some sort of weird Arabic name sounding for it. Sounds a bit like Quadesh or Aldesh or I don't know. Gozo. That's nice and simple. There's a reason English is the official language of Malta.
Yeah, it's Gozor. Gozor the Traveller was the deity from Ghostbusters. That's the word.
I didn't know that, but now I do.
You live and learn.
Hey, there's something about a giant radio telescope sets date for ET hunt. I mean, is that the 500? Yeah, that's the one. The Arecibo. Oh no, it's called Fast. That is the Arecibo. It's a big concrete dish. I think it was in one of the James Bond films, the one with Pierce Brosnan.
Is that Goldeneye? Is it?
I don't remember which one. That's the next one, actually. I've watched the two Tim Dalton ones, and I can see why the second one, License to Kill, doesn't get repeated much often.
I quite like License to Kill. I thought it was better than current gritty Bond, wasn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is good in a lot of ways, but it's like that one with George Lazenby in it, because it's featuring the Red Cross. They're very protective over their copyright. So
doesn't the Living Daylights have the Red Cross in it as well?
I don't remember, but the one with George Lazenby, that has like people in helicopters with the Red Cross on it with machine guns, which is absolutely verboten according to the Red Cross. And they just generally, they don't like their thing to be depicted with any sort of like violence, because they say, that means in war zones we get attacked by people and we're unarmed, we're just civilian helpers. And I'm like, yeah, but you're going into a war zone, what do you expect?
I thought the Red Cross were used somehow when in the Living Daylights when he goes to Afghanistan. Afghanistan or Iraq he goes to, I can't remember.
Well, the Afghanistan one is the Tim Dalton one.
Yeah.
And because he's in a prison in Afghanistan. It's the one with the American form. Well, he's not a former general, but he wants to sell weapons to the Russians.
Oh, that was the Living Daylights, was it? Because he plays Felix Leiter in the Brosnan Bonds. The same actor.
Let me just have a look, because I've been through these films. So it's License to Kill and the Living Daylights, 1987. That's the Afghanistan.
Yeah.
which sort of reminds me a lot of Rambo 3, and I'm just like, why are they doing all? Oh yeah, because Russia is evil. But I mean, all of that aside, why were we talking about that? The Red Cross, and I don't know.
The satellite dish.
Oh yeah, the satellite dish and that. Yeah, I was just going to say when they do this tunnel from Malta to Gozo, they might uncover giant skeletons, which they'll promptly have to cover up or something.
Oid.
Oh, this one is not the Arecibo dish. It's China has announced when its 500-meter FAST telescope will begin searching for intelligent alien life. I'm sure that's what the Chinese are going to be using this thing for. Situated in southwest China's Guizhou province, the 500-meter wide aperture spherical telescope, also known as FAST, I don't know what the F stands for either. It will cost $180 million to build and is around the size of 30. Well, it's not the size of 30.
Is it a fucking amazing super telescope? Is that what it is?
It's a radio telescope. It's a radio telescope.
Does FAST stand for fucking amazing super telescope?
Or fucking aperture spherical telescope. I mean,
fucking.
Why don't they just call it? Yeah. This telescope was made for fucking with the aliens. Well, but seriously, I don't understand what are the Chinese doing with this radio telescope. You can't tell me they're really interested. I mean, you know,
I wouldn't allow the Chinese to have a bike. I really wouldn't allow them to have a bicycle, because I think they'd even manage to do something subversive with a bicycle.
I mean, it was a mistake giving the Chinese fire for a start, or the wheel. But the thing is, right? This is the extent of Chinese curiosity. Let's go and send a fleet to explore the world. And this was when Europe was still recovering from the Black Plague, which was thanks to China. Explore the world. All right, here's a couple of places. Go back to them, give them some Ming vases and some other gifts. And then they stay, and then for another 500 years, China just stayed to itself. And it's like, yeah, we're not interested in the rest of the world. So what the fuck is China doing with this giant telescope? I mean, it is a telescope for observing things. All I can think is they can use that great big parabolic dish, which is 500 meters wide, to shine a giant laser into space to zap satellites out of space. Mind you, they did do that thing a few years ago where they shot a missile into space to blow up one of their satellites, which I think was just a thing to say to the Americans and Israelis, yeah, we can shoot your satellites out of space. Which they'll do.
That's all very good, Hobbit, but I was going to do these stories in order. the first one being the diary reveals location of hidden Nazi gold stash.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I got all worn up about this. What the fuck is China doing? The giant thing.
They're going to look through ladies' bedroom windows, I think.
As Flary Canary says, it's Moonraper. Colgate Max White says a view to a cock. Gold fingering.
Jeez. A wee babu says Hong Kongers don't eat dogs and are familiar with our legal system.
Oh,
Christ.
Yeah. Wow. I could be annoyed by this stuff. Alternatively, we could talk about Nazi gold.
The evil Nazis.
Oh God, they're so evil. I mean, even from like the grave, they're still being so evil. I reckon there's probably some poor Jew, which Tommy Robinson hasn't yet done the documentary about, how they've had like a heart attack because they were so scared watching Schindler's List.
Oh, so a mysterious diary kept for decades by a Masonic lodge could lead to the whereabouts of 30 tons of Nazi gold. You would have thought 30 tons of Nazi gold would be fairly easy to find, wouldn't it? The diary, which was written 75 years ago by a Nazi SS officer known as Michaelis, details Heinrich Himmler's plan to stash large amounts of gold, works of art and other valuable items that Nazis had stolen during their invasion and occupation of Europe.
Oh,
The
yes,
location.
because when I think of typically Germanic names, I think of a name like Michaelis.
Yeah, it's a bit weird, isn't it? The location. Oh, no. The location of one of these sites is actually described in the diary: an abandoned well situated beneath Hochberg Palace in the village of Rozocka in southern Poland. The undiscovered treasure trove, if it exists, allegedly contains gold stolen from the Reichsbank in the Polish town of Breslau that would be worth billions of euros in today's money. The diary itself had been kept hidden away by a secret society in Quedlinburg, Germany, for years until 2019. It was given to the Polish Foundation Silesian Bridge, which in turn chose to gift it to the people of Poland as a way to apologise for what transpired during World War II. So yeah, because I thought that I've also heard those other stories that apparently they were dumping, on the retreat they were dumping gold and valuables and stuff in lakes. Have you ever heard that story?
Well, I mean, like, what the one I hear often is that, yeah, the Nazis hid their gold in Switzerland, and the evil Swiss won't give the gold back to the poor beleaguered Jews who clearly have suffered enough.
Yeah.
And Swiss, why are you being so evil? Why are you not giving them all the gold which they claim is theirs?
The Swiss used to be so nice, didn't they? All cuckoo clocks and chocolate and Heidi, and now they're evil.
Stringent laws on noise pollution.
So there's a bit more on this. Author Michaelis was also thought to have controlled Nazi transport in the region and could have been easily aware if large amounts of riches had been moved from one place to another. But could this abandoned well really be home to a huge stash of gold? The building itself is situated in a region that was often used by the Nazis to store stolen goods, and is known to be riddled with caves and mine shafts.
How do they know it's stolen goods?
Because it was the Nazis.
Oh, okay. What? So you're saying they didn't just legitimately purchase this and said,
"No, not possible."
No,
it was Nazis.
No. They did they steal it and then kick a granny in the leg so that they break? Just and then when they go to auction, would they spit on the auctioneer's face?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just say, "I've changed the rules. Pray I do not change them any further."
Doctor Nobe, Thunderballs for your arse only.
Have we got? Is it James Bond puns tonight then?
I prefer the guy who bummed men. Never say bugger again.
The boon who mugged me. Never say bugger again.
For your arse only.
How did we get on gay James Bond titles?
I don't. Well, this is the audience. I mean, this is on them. So keep it up, audience.
Yeah, we've got a new fan, Fortean Travels Hobbit. Have you noticed?
Yeah, I like that. That's a good name. I appreciate that. Hey, so we're done with how evil. I don't think we can ever be done with how evil the Nazis are.
No, you can't, can you?
Every week, I'm always finding out about some new evil they perpetrated, like with the pedal. In fact, I even saw one of these pedal-powered masturbation machines, and it was being used on this Brazilian woman who was forced to ride something that wasn't a saddle.
Have you seen this one? Have you seen this one from 2017? Can AI work out who betrayed Anne Frank?
Oh dear!
Did you want to do this? Are we going into Nazis? Is that what we're going to do now? Did you want to find out if AI can work out who betrayed Anne Frank?
Not particularly. I just wanted to make my joke about the pedal-powered masturbation machines. I saw video evidence of it being used on a lady. She was naked as well. There is a story here which I think we get into Anne Frank, but first of all, there's one. I'll post it into the same place that we post these things. Scientists almost certain that Europa hosts life. You know about Europa?
I know Europa, the Last Battle.
It's oh yeah, that's a film, isn't it? Europa, I think it's a moon.
Oh God, they've gone on to Bond actors now. It's Rogering Moore.
Well, it was Rogering Moore. I mean, that's what it was. The ding dong.
On His Majesty's Secret Service. I think we've run out now, haven't we? I think that's the bottom of the barrel scraped. Pierce Brosnan.
Never say beaver again. Pierce Brosnan. Yeah. So
I think we need to stop references because it's not getting any better, is it?
I don't know. I mean, I appreciate the audience, wearing themselves out on this. It's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. One of the users in our chat's called Keeping It Vril.
Yeah, he's been in for a while.
Shall we do AI to detect that Anne Frank was using a biro, or Life on Europa?
Let's do Life on Europa.
No, this is the same thing. I think it's one of those things where they'll say, we're looking at the telescopes at Mars and we see canals there, so we suspect there may be life because we can see
possibly
canals.
Italians.
Yeah, and there's a face. Yeah. Well, as opposed to Mancunians. Is it Manchester that has the canals? Or
all we've just seen a little man pushing another little man into the
canal. Yeah. I need to stop reading the chat. It's too distracting. But so here's this thing: a leading British space scientist. Oh, what? Not a rocket scientist then?
Space scientist.
Space scientist. What? Not. That's the official name for it, isn't it? Yeah, one of them space scientists, in it. Maintains that Jupiter's icy moon is very likely to be home to alien organisms. I reckon that's probably true. That I am expecting them to find some bacteria there. There might be multicellular stuff, but who knows? When it comes to seeking out signs of extraterrestrial life within our own solar system, no target has been proven more tantalizing than Europa, a world thought to be home to.
Is that like a prank call gag? Hello, is that icy moon? Yes. Well, you better thaw it out then.
Yeah. Is there Mr. Wall there? No. Is there Mrs. Wall? No. Is there any walls there? No. How does the ceiling stay up? Europa's got a crust of solid water, and underneath it, maybe tides, maybe
solid water. You mean ice?
Yes.
You're starting to talk like a journalist, Hobbit, now.
Oh no, it's bad, isn't it? I reckon this is what happens. You start reading enough news articles, and you start thinking like journalists.
Do journalists think? That's a question. That's a Fortean question, isn't it?
Well, not really, because if they did, they'd be able to spot. Like, there was that thing where you and Kaptain were going over it, and he was applying the commas, which, as I was saying, that they've rationed commas in news organisations now, another punctuation. But suffice to say, Europa, they reckon's got a liquid core. Well, the very core itself might be a small rocky thing, but it's a liquid mantle of water, and then it will be an icy crust.
How do I know that by looking at it through a telescope?
They don't. I think it's when the Voyager probe went over it, and they did an analysis, and they said, "Yeah, this is mostly water."
Vija.
Yeah, that's it. Vija.
For those that like Star Trek: The Motion Picture, Vija.
I should watch The Wrath of Khan one of these days. That's a good one.
Yeah.
One major proponent of the idea is planetary scientist Professor Monica Grady, who outlined her thoughts on the subject at a recent talk at Liverpool Hope University.
Does that mean she's specialised then if she's not a space scientist?
I mean, planetary scientist. That's not a space scientist then, is it? It's a planetary scientist.
Wouldn't it be? Shouldn't she be something like a bit more fancy, like an exogeologist or something like that? Sounds better, doesn't it? Exogeologist.
Yeah. Well, then again, she is from the Liverpool Hope University. Liverpool. Not only could there be life forms in the icy ocean of Europa, she argues, but deep caverns on Mars could also provide a potential sheltered habitat for extraterrestrial organisms. When it comes to the prospects of life beyond Earth, it's almost a racing certainty. Have you ever heard of a racing certainty?
Yeah, I've heard of the term, but I don't quite know what it means.
Well, she says
does it mean
it's
like
almost
odds on? I think it means like odds on, doesn't it?
It's almost a racing certainty there's life beneath the ice on Europa. It's a phrase I've never heard until now, so yeah. Elsewhere, if there's going to be life on Mars, it's going to be under the surface of the planet. There, you're protected from solar radiation, and that means there's possibility of ice remaining in the pores of the rocks, which could act as a source of water. If there is something on Mars, it's likely to be very small bacteria. Well, I think we've got a better chance of having slightly higher forms of life in Europa, perhaps similar to the intelligence of an octopus. Well, okay, that's a bold claim. Overall, she argues, the conditions that led to life on Earth are likely to have occurred elsewhere too. Our solar system is not a particularly special planetary system as far as we know, and we still haven't explored all the stars in the galaxy. Oh, right, you fucking bitch. No, you don't need to get your philosophy involved in this. Our solar system is the most unique in the entire universe, and we don't have any other proof to say otherwise.
Is she being godless, is she?
Yeah, she said, well, we're just some insignificant speck of dirt on the arse end of nowhere.
Yeah.
The usual sort of like, oh, I'm just a speck of dust. I'm so insignificant and meaningless. The fact that we have intelligent life on our planet is a miracle. If you look at it's called the Great Filter of the Fermi Paradox, like all these filters which would preclude intelligent life from arising, yet alone intelligent life which can explore the stars, which we've almost got to, if it wasn't for our experiments with political correctness. I saw this. Yeah, well, I saw a meme today. It says what joggers are up to this Friday, what white people are up to this Friday, and it's like two of them on the SpaceX launch. So the first, because a friend and I, you were sort of saying, oh, we could do asteroid mining. We've got all the technology for it. And because he was talking about terraformation, I was saying it'd be far easier to build an orbital cylinder habitat than it would be to terraform a planet. And that's what we should be doing, because it's easier to just transport asteroids and give them a shunt and wait a number of years for them to get somewhere than it is to terraform a planet. And he's saying, oh, yeah, we could actually do that if it wasn't for, the political will and things. And I said, yeah, if it wasn't for the fact that we have to cope with our cities being on fire. It's hard to, think to send our gazes upwards when you're very world is on fire. I'm sorry, I'm looking at that, and there's a Voyager scientist saying Enceladus, one of the moons of Uranus, I think it is, may harbour life.
Uranus, it's Uranus, I bet.
Oh, it's in Uranus, yeah.
Rings around Uranus. Moons around Uranus.
Saturn's icy moon. So, yeah, they reckon Enceladus and Enceladus. There we go. Is an icy world like Europa. So there might be life there too. Oh, Flurry Canary says hashtag Thorium Energy. Speaking of hashtags, I mean, you've seen they're talking about question time, or is that appropriate for Fortean?
We'll mention it at the end because we want people.
Okay. Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Mystery liquid found inside 2,000-year-old pot. You seen this one, Hobbit?
We should get Ashens to drink it.
Have a guess what? Archaeologists in China have discovered a strange brown liquid inside an ancient pot shaped like a swan.
Is it beer?
How much do you reckon's left now? Do you reckon they've ate it all?
They might have had some, but a free Messianic Bible. Is that as good as the Schofield reference Bible?
I don't know. It looks like there's a 6-pointed star in there, so I'm not sure.
Yeah. I mean, when I'm thinking of the Bible, I'm thinking 6-pointed hexagrams with 6.6 edges and 6 triangles.
Yeah,
that's very holy. That is. And how many lines is that? Is that 1, 2, 3, 4? I can't see how many lines are in the middle. So is that it's all right. It's not demonic. It's 4 6s, not 3 6s.
Oh, that's all right then.
Yeah.
Elaborately.
Uno, a card game, is saying, is that a Nazi capacitor? Yes, it's the famous 6-pointed Nazi death capacitor.
The elaborately crafted vessel, which has a top piece shaped like the neck of a swan, has been unearthed alongside a number of other artifacts in a tomb in central China's Henan province. A total of 3,000 millilitres of the mysterious yellowish-brown liquid was extracted from the pot. However, researchers will have to wait a chemical analysis to determine exactly what it could be. The pot, along with a bronze helmet, a bronze basin, and a number of iron and jade swords, have been discovered during an urban regeneration project in the city of Mencia, XIA, something like that. The artifacts would have been buried alongside the deceased as part of the funerary practices of the time. It's believed the tomb dates back to between 200 BC and 200 AD. So somewhere in that 400-year range, they've got it right down, Hobbit.
Yeah.
The pot in particular has intrigued researchers due to its unique design. The design resembles that of a mute swan, said senior veterinarian Gao Rui, who was tasked with identifying the specific species upon which the pot shape was based. The design suggests that its creators must have observed birds close up. Probably before eating them. I should imagine. We can boldly estimate that swans may have appeared in San Mencia during the late Qin and early Han dynasty. Do you know much about pronouncing your Chinese dynasties?
Yeah, their names are all pronounced Ping Chong Qing Dong Ding Dong Jing.
Said Zhu Xiaodong of San Mencia. This is just like they're taking the mick out of me, you know. Institute of Cultural Relics and Archaeology.
Well, we just call them. You know, you have to give them anglicised names like
Fred.
It was
Frank.
that one. I was going to say, it was that one in the Pink Panther. They had like some Chinese guy there. Bert, that's it.
Bert Kwok. Bert Kwok.
Yeah. So just refer to them as Bert Kwok.
Kato, my little yellow friend.
Oh, Kato, that's it.
Yeah, Kato.
Hey, I've got something for the Brutus files here.
What's that?
It's going to called Brief Aryan Yogi Prahlad Jani.
Excellent pronunciation there, Hobbit.
Yeah, his name Prahlad Jani.
What's breatharian, where he kind of believes in breathing, does he?
They're like, I do not need to eat. I just have a cup of coffee a day and a cheese sandwich, and sometimes I have a McDonald's Happy Meal and sometimes a salad. But yeah, they lives just by breathing air. Born in 1929 in India's Chalada village, Prahlad Jani lived for decades as a hermit in a cave in Gujarat and spent the majority of his time meditating. Lazy bastard. Throughout his long life, he gained quite a significant following due to his claim he was able to survive indefinitely without eating or drinking. Well, then why is he dead? In 2003, he was subject of a study at Stirling Hospital's Ahmedabad, where he was observed in a sealed room by Dr. Sudhir Shah and other physicians for a period of 10 days. Although he was described as physically normal, he lost weight during this time, casting doubt on the notion that he'd be able to survive for a long period of time without ingesting anything at all.
Yeah, but he went 10 days without food or drink.
Well, I don't know if he went without a drink. It said, it doesn't say, you know, I mean, for all I know, it could be a sealed room, but they were just sneaking in the chicken biryani every night.
Could have been drinking his own piss on the sly.
Yeah, it could have been. So a later 2010 study, which lasted 15 days, also reported as healthy and physically normal. However, it remained unclear what exactly was happening to him. It suggested that he was able to demonstrate an extreme form of adaptation to starvation and water restriction. Yeah, because you can only last 3 days without water. Other medical experts, however, remain skeptical, noting that survival without food or water was impossible. So they're using the past tense. Does that mean it is possible now? And that there have been opportunities during the study for him to receive items from devotees who could visit him without supervision. Yes.
Well, it wasn't a study then, was it?
No, it wasn't.
Who just sort of staying over.
So he's just sort of staying in this room, and we're just going to turn our back when the devotees come here. That's good. Oh yes, more rigorous scientific investigations from India.
Yeah.
Yeah. Until his dying day, Gianni's claims remained contentious and drew the ire of medical professionals who dismissed the mere idea of breatharianism as highly dangerous. Well, it's not highly dangerous because anyone gullible enough to think that they can survive on breathing air, I would like them to prove it. Come back to me in 3 days' time.
Huh.
Let's see. Suffice to say, it is definitely not saying anyone should be trying at home. Well, I think that's the ideal place to be trying it if you're going to do it anywhere.
Yeah, because you can have a drink and something to eat then, can't you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Jenny died last Tuesday at the age of 90. He died early Tuesday morning at his residence due to old age, but I thought he could live indefinitely on not eating, said his neighbor. He was rushed to hospital after midnight, but was declared dead on arrival by doctors there. Yeah, so there you go. A man who totally was able to live on nothing.
I've got to go back to the pot thing. Fortean Travel says, I had a strange brown liquid inside me the day after I got pissed and had a dodgy kebab.
Yes, I too have. I've had situations where I've had a dose of the salts and.
Well, I actually had that the day after I went out for a beer with you last.
I know. And the awful thing is, I remember there was it's a franchise where you got your dodgy kebab, and the other one was being done for hygiene. But
I'm pretty sure you did try to warn me.
Yeah. But I mean, I was there with you. It looked clean enough, that establishment.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't see him picking his bum hole in between flipping the burger. So that's all you can ask for them. No. I think that's the most you can ask for those people. It's just like, well, you haven't shit over the griddle, so yeah. Do we want to do one for? Is this the best time to look for UFOs? Or man describes UFO air battle encounter.
Oh yeah,
this is in the second. Yeah, so man describes UFO air battle encounter. Or is this the best time? We'll do UFO because this one will be really simple. I can summarize it in 2 sentences. There's few aircraft during lockdown, and there's low pollution levels. So this is an ideal opportunity to go sky watching. There you go. There's that story done.
Is that literally all they say?
No, there's
like a bit of a thing going on, didn't they?
They repeat themselves as well. It says the reduction in air pollution has also made it possible to see objects in the sky over a much longer distance than would normally be possible. So just repeating the first bit. This is an excellent time for sky watching, they repeat again, said former Ministry of Defense UFO investigator Nick Pope. Because so many UFO sightings turn out to be misidentifications.
Or Zero calls him Nick Pope, the government dope.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Yeah, because he said he wanted blood sport. Zero, if you're listening, come back to us, mate. And he did say he wanted blood sports with Nick Pope.
Yeah, so he just says, because so many UFO sightings turn out to be misidentifications of aircraft or aircraft lights, the massive reduction in flying has cleared the skies, leaving people better able to search for the source. While there have been larger numbers of sightings in some areas than others over the years, the so-called UFO hotspots, it is still viable to look to the skies just about anywhere. There's no easy answer to the question of UFO hotspots, said Pope. It's a complex mix, where one is to take account of total population density, light pollution, proximity to flight paths, and military bases and a whole set of other factors. The media plays a big part too. Sometimes if a local newspaper runs a story about UFO sighting, they'll end with a request for other witnesses to contact the news desk. Suffice to say, if you see anything unusual in the sky, please let us know.
14 Travels is Ian. That's what he calls himself now.
Okay. 10 pints of Guinness and a packet of peanuts is Irish sandpaper. If you want to see rusty radiator water being squirted out, have a dose of the salts. That will do it.
What is happening to this stream?
It's gone to pot. It has ever since that was discovered with the brown substance in it.
Yeah.
But it is one which I'm thinking is more useful. Man describes UFO air battle encounter. Or do you want to do your one about an eagle-eyed Google Earth user has identified what appear to be several underground tunnel entrances?
Yeah, we'll do the several tunnel entrances. There are a few places on Earth as notoriously secretive as Area 51. What do you think about Area 51? Do you think Area 51 is where they absolutely don't do that kind of shit, but they pretend they do, so that's where all the Muppets go?
Yeah, I don't know why Area 51 gets such a look in, because I'm told like Edwards Air Force Base is where they do the other stuff. I mean, I'm sure there's like stuff that goes on in Area 51 which is top secret, but sometimes there's like, and then the Air General shit himself. Well, that's classified now.
do you remember those idiots who were going to bum rush Area 51? Do you remember that one?
Yeah, but I seem to remember there was something at the time which was like controversial, like some Israeli secrets got leaked, or there was like Me Too reports, or Epstein Islands evidence, or there was something
was
going
that when
on.
Epstein died? Or when Epstein was arrested?
It was around about that sort of time. There was something more interesting going on with Epstein, or than it was about bum rushing Area 51.
Yeah. But I think bum rushing a military base where people are armed on the fence is probably not the best idea.
I think it is. I think anybody that
want to get shot.
I think anybody that really wants to do that should go ahead and do it. and they should run in straight lines and not zigzag.
So an eagle
on this show, we encourage people to be sensible and not kill themselves by getting shot by military police.
So basically, someone's had a look at Google Earth and they go, "Oh, look, there looks like a bit where it could be a tunnel."
Oh, wow. Cool.
Or it could just be an outcrop in the rock. Who knows? But we'll just jump to the conclusion it's a massive tunnel going to a deep underground base.
You know, Coletti Spaghetti in the chat, and I could well believe him doing this because he's the sort that way. He says, "Every time I visit Weatherspoon, I like to be Zora and leave the brown Z skids on the bog."
There are some, as we found out the other day, there are some chefs that like to leave skid marks on the chopping board, don't they?
Oh God, yeah. No, I got properly angry when you did that segment. That's why I had to bugger off.
Did you want to do the rarest primate, or should we skip that and talk about the leprechaun whisperer?
Oh, let's do the rarest primate just briefly. See what let's have a picture of the monkey.
The Hainan gibbon. Is that like the funky gibbon?
Oh, Hainan, because that's a province of China, isn't it? Hainan gibbon.
It's an island hobbit.
Yeah, I think it's and a few dozen still survive, and the Chinese are salivating at eating the last 12 of them. I mean, that's basically why it's so close to it. It's just so yeah.
Well, they're either eating it or grinding it up for boner pills, aren't they? One of the two.
Well, they're consuming it one way or another. Excuse me.
I still think we ought to persuade them that we should let the Chinese know that the huntsman spider gives you a 4-hour erection. I
can't delete comments in the chat. I can only report or block them.
Oh right, block's the same as deleting anyway.
Is it?
What are you looking at blocking then? Pork and pie and Nutella.
Yeah. That is a food crime. You're gonna have to go to The Hague for that.
A man who claims to be Ireland's last living leprechaun whisperer has spoken about the impact of the virus. What's the preparation for talking to leprechauns? Is it a few pints of the old Guinness there, is it?
Well, based on my evidence in the leprechaun films, if you find like a gold coin, that'll make them talk to you shortly before murdering you.
You may be forgiven for thinking that leprechauns, bearded, green-suited little Irish people of folklore, are little more than the product of stories and folk tales. But according to Kevin Woods, father of Keith, of Carlingford, County Louth, however, these mischievous fairy folk are not only real but are in communication with him, sharing their thoughts about current events. Are they worried about the Anglo-American Empire, are they?
Oh, so they are.
They think that Richard Spencer's a nice lad.
Oh, he certainly is. And I like his other friend, that David Joke.
Yeah.
He's great.
For many years, Woods has acted as a custodian of the leprechauns and has previously successfully lobbied for them to be granted special protected status. He also claims to have a special power that enables him to see and talk to them. Like I say, it's a few parts of the old black stuff, isn't it?
No, the special power is lockjaw. It's being able to speak without moving your jaw.
Speaking during a recent appearance on This Morning in the UK, he told hosts Ruth Langford and Eamon Holmes that while leprechauns have been doing fine, their numbers are dwindling. There were millions of them here in Ireland, but they all died apart from 236. That's a very specific number, isn't it?
Why?
Did he have a head count?
Yeah, I mean, was there a census of leprechauns? Did Ireland conduct censuses?
Sensi? Is it sensi?
Yeah, what is the multiple of census?
I don't know. I think it's probably sensi.
I don't know.
Either way, might be census, because sometimes the same word is the plural, isn't it? I'm really the custodian and their lives. I'm really the custodian of them and their lives, and I've been doing that since I got them a protected species. Leprechauns are spirits. They manifest themselves to me as leprechauns. I visit them each day. I haven't broken the restrictions. Does he have to stay 2 meters away from the leprechauns, does he?
That's right. When observing a spectral phenomenon and spirits that interfere in nature, you need to make sure you wear your dentist mask so not coof all over them, and you don't want to start infecting them now with a demonetized virus, because that would be bad.
Woods runs
There's only 236 of them left now, don't you know?
Woods runs a tour business named Last Leprechauns of Ireland. However, while the coronavirus doesn't seem to have impacted the little folk themselves, his profits have certainly taken a hit. It's not really business to me. I have enough access to the gold, he said. I don't need the business. I do it to tell people the story is true.
I like that. Flary Canary says, the way he contacts the leprechauns is he rings Warwick Davis in the middle of the night and does heavy breathing down the line.
Warbrick Gavis. The fucking gay names continue. How would mankind handling an alien invasion? They'd tell us to stop being so bigoted and just open your heart to the aliens.
Isn't it called Project Blue Book, where they're going to fake an alien invasion to say, see, you've got to allow blacks and browns into your house because aliens were all the same race, the human race.
Oh, what they're going to do? They're going to do a Ozymandias on us, are they? Drop a big pussy alien on some cities.
Yeah, and then it's just, see, the aliens are here. Well, we best do away with all that racism, except against the aliens. Be racist to the aliens, but not racist to the other humans.
The illegal aliens.
Yeah. Oh no, these are really illegal aliens because there's apparently we've got border control around our planet's atmosphere.
But aren't we all one galaxy, really, though?
Yeah, I mean, we're all just sentient beings, so, who's to say that our Earth's not their Earth? And for all we know, they could be the Goa'uld and say, well, actually, this is our planet, we brought you as slaves. We were slaves.
Has somebody been watching some Stargate HD? When have they?
I watched the entire series, and then I watched the spin-offs, which were progressively worse. Stargate Atlantis wasn't too bad compared to some of the other ones, but
the one on the spaceship was kind of all right.
Oh, Stargate in Space.
Yeah, Stargate in Space. I can't even remember what it was called.
It was pretty much Stargate in Space.
Yeah. It was Stargate. Stop the ship. I want to get off, because they didn't really know how to fly it, did they?
No, they don't know where they were going with that show either. Yeah. Oh,
Hobbit. Have you seen this one on the next page? Killer asteroid struck at worst possible angle.
Well, I mean, yeah. But, I mean, it's a killer asteroid. It's not like a slight nuisance asteroid, is it? Well, the asteroid flew overhead and it knocked some of my priceless china off the mantelpiece.
Oh dear.
Oh, here's something I'm really glad to see on unexplainedmysteries.com, getting to the real heart of the matter. World's oldest bug discovered in Scotland. Ooh.
Have they battered it and eaten it?
Scientists, well, they could be, because the scientists from Texas, they've identified the tiny fossil of a millipede that lived more than 425 million years ago. Spooky ghost millipede.
Yeah.
The remarkable discovery, which was made on the island of Kerkera in the Scottish Inner Hebrides. If I do the spooky voice, it'll make this sound spooky.
Well, you just sound like you're doing the Futurama voice. Welcome to the world of tomorrow.
That is the spooky voice.
Oh, is that the spooky voice?
Yeah, it's older than any other known insect or arachnid and dates back to the mid-Paleozoic era. To find it, researchers at the University of Texas, Austin, extracted microscopic minerals from the rock below using a low-tech method, gluing a pin to the tip of a pencil to locate any fossils. The millipede is around 75 million years older than the previous oldest known insect. The species, well, if it's a millipede, it's not an insect. The species is thought to have transitioned from living in lakes to living in forest environments. Oh, so it's not only is it 425 million years old, but it's a tranny. Within the relatively short time frame to 40 million years. And so I think, let's see, Michael Brookfield, that's University of Massachusetts in Boston. It's a big jump from these tiny guys to very complex forest communities. Boston is strong. It didn't take that long, said Michael Brookfield from Boston. It seems to be a rapid radiation of evolution from these mountain valleys down to the lowlands, and then, well, wait, after that... The oldest known stemmed plant, which was also found in Scotland and is the same age as the millipede fossil, has also been identified using a similar method, of poking it with a stick with a pin glued onto it. Wow, there we go. That was a spooky story from Scotland.
Does this mean all life began in Scotland, not Kenya?
We came from Scotland.
Monkey stick. Oh, I think we've already done this one, haven't we? Monkey steals coronavirus blood samples. I feel like we've done it.
No, we haven't done it, but I'm sure other places have done it, because it's one of those sort of stories where, like, yay, mayhem. It's stories from India, so yeah.
Yeah, because Uttar Pradesh. Because I remember struggling with Uttar Pradesh the other day.
Oh yeah, wasn't it like Hash was one of the names, and Subaraj Hash Ganja?
Yeah, something like that.
But I thought it was just a piss take thing. It was just all these.
He actually tweeted it. Monkey ran away with corona test samples. Locals fear spread of infection.
That's all right. They can just bathe in cow shit then, haven't they?
Yeah. Also, Pakistani spy pigeon is captured by police.
Yeah, we did that story.
That was quite funny.
Les says, hey, have the protests gone to India now too, have they? You know, the taking the knee protests.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're not taking a knee, they're taking the... Silly as Sodder said they should call the millipede a jock roach.
Yeah, that's it. But...
Right, are we going to do something?
These are the cheeky monkeys, not the ones which smash open shops to steal tellies. I was going to say rape telly.
Are we going to do? Are we going to go into the depressing shit again?
Well, the actual spooky shit. Yeah.
What do you want to do? Because there's. Do you want to do a couple more cases from that other website we went to, the Beams Investigations?
Yeah, that's the point. I'll have to bring that website back up. As you can see, we got all this stuff ready beforehand, and we're not just doing it on the fly. No. You know what? I do all this stuff on the fly. If we start to, if we start doing this, actual preparing beforehand, it'll be one of those boring shows with one of those boring presenters on it, where they're just reading a long wall of text.
Yeah.
No, we're fluid and organic, and we're doing it by the seat of our pants, and that makes a more entertaining show for myself, for my co-host Hemi, and for our dear audience who really want us to just get on with
it. So I'm doing the one from February 2015. Dogs in. I mean, I'm sure this is a wind-up name. Animal-loving couple were reported to make a horrific discovery as they walk their dogs in Wownarlawyd in South Wales, UK.
Well, to be fair, that does sound fairly Welsh.
Yeah. Tyrone Curtis and his fiancée Alicia Hilton were walking their Staffordshire Bull Terriers Diesel and Stassi when they stumbled upon a horse which they believe had been stabbed to death. It was my fiancée and I were taking the dogs for a walk in the field behind my house on Kengid Road, said Mr. Curtis. It was a casual walk, but we came across a dead horse, which we thought it looked like it had been stabbed to death and had his eyes pulled out. Shocked to find the young couple set about trying to find the horse's owner, she said, "We have been to all the houses and nobody knows who owns it," says Mr. Curtis, aged 23. I was devastated. We were about 150 yards away from it. I thought it was a cow at first, but there are no cows on that field. We love our animals and we love going up the field and seeing the horses. The horse was perfectly fine the other day, standing there eating the grass, but this looks like someone has done it on purpose. So that's not a lot of detail in that one.
No.
But,
nice bit of opinion there from the Welsh. It looked like somebody done it on purpose.
It was fine before it had been stabbed.
Yeah, I mean, oh no, it just accidentally got stabbed 20 times. It was just an accidental stabbing.
Oh, that one, that's a dead link.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Do you want to watch a bit of gross video, Hobbit?
What? Oh yeah, there's nothing which gets me going like gross video.
I'll play it for the audience if you want to play it at the same time. Might be the easiest way of doing it.
Harvest of Blood.
Yes, I'll put that on.
This audio is brought
that
to
is
you
a
by
very metal title.
Oh, that's an hour and a half. I'm not watching all of that. That's
the Cosmic Frontier says copyright.
That's a
Bloody
good
Harvest.
name for a band.
The reality of vet-related cattle and human mutilations, or reasons enough to be very cautious about the trustful approach to extraterrestrial.
Oh, there's a bit about people. I've gone to 12:44.
Examination. We observed 1. Cut off of the externally biased slanting incision with hollowing of
zone.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to watch more of that. That's really grim. Harvest of Blood. What's it called? Harvest of Blood. Human and
What's
cattle.
their debut album called?
Yeah, because there are some reports of like human mutilations, isn't there?
Human mutilation.
Oh, I found the Dublin horse mutilation, Hobbit.
Yep.
Fucking, why do they cut its ears out like that?
Maybe it's a trophy.
Animal Rights Protection Group is offering £5,000 reward, €5,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of a person responsible for a vicious attack on a horse. The horse was found dead in Darndale Park area of Dublin with a number of injuries to its body yesterday. It was disemboweled, had its ears cut off and anus cut out. So your classic mutilation thing, isn't it?
Whilst you're saying that, I'm looking in the archive and the Beams investigation, and if you can read It looks like Spanish. Hang on. Yeah, I'd say this is Spanish. It doesn't look like Portuguese because I think they speak both languages in Brazil, don't they? It's
Yeah.
it's it's a lot better than that 1970s photo thing. If I copy the PDF, you can read it yourself. But again, it's all in Taco language, so I can't really
It's all in
make head nor tail.
Spanish. Oh, at least it's better than the FBI one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot more legible.
It looks interesting, doesn't it?
Yeah, so chat, if you can decipher Spanish and tell us what they're saying in it, it's a horrific. No, not that. It's Brazilian autopsy report on mutilated alien abduction victim.
I'm going to the one that's the 7th of the 4th.
Well, that's just downright bizarre.
They have found sheep with neat holes while their brains and other internal organs were removed. Other animals have lost eye or had their flesh carefully stripped away, usually on the left side. The UFOs were found to have roamed a 50-mile corridor between Shrewsbury and Powys. Mr. Hoyle and 15 members of the Animal Pathology Field Unit claimed they had witnessed UFOs at work last month while working during the night at a Welsh hill farm near Radnor Forest. Technology involved in these attacks is frightening, he told The Sun. These lights and spheres are clearly not ours. They are built by technology and intelligence that's not from here. He added, for a short while it looked more like a Star Wars battle. The next day he interviewed farmers, and all but one had some type of unusual disappearance of animals or deaths with strange injuries, he told the paper.
Oh, that's a shame. Whilst you're doing that, chat was saying, Hemi, have you seen the human mutilation incident at Brecon Beacons? And one of the first links I went to was the David Icke forum, which is down, although the search engine seems to have archived the thing.
Yeah. I think in the link somewhere there's the human mutilation bit, isn't there, in the mutilations channel?
Yeah. Excuse me, chat. My dinner was
shocking truth. Shocking truth behind the human mutilation cover-up. We go into that one then.
Yeah, it could be that one. I posted another link on this one about the one which caught my eye, in the flying horse type UFO over Kempston, Bedford.
Did you want to do that one first before we move on?
No, human mutilation. This one seems more.
Yeah.
Because I remember reading about this last week as well.
So there's a human mutilation case, 1994. 2 cookie cutter wounds on the chest. Left eye removed, eyelid removed, ear removed, lips removed, side of jaw removed, jawbone removed. No blood whatsoever. So it's another common thing, isn't it? It seems weird that if they were doing cows and stuff that they wouldn't do a human, doesn't it? I don't even know. Yeah. I mean, what are the statistics on how many people go missing every year?
Well, I think we did that briefly with the Hollow Earth creepypasta. There is a lot of missing people, and I reckon they put underground. I'm not sure if the claims are as lurid as what they say, but there's these underground facilities where. Well, it might even just be warehouses for all I know.
Missing People publishes so Missing People say it's 180,000. The Independent say that it's 275,000 people go missing every year. This is 2009, so it might have even gone up then since then. So Missing People, the charity that helps both the disappeared and those left behind, told us 250,000 missing person reports each year, more than 30,000 higher than any previous total is probably an underestimate. But others put the total nearer 275,000. This the equivalent of the entire population of Plymouth being spirited away, means that across the country, one person goes missing every 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's It's nasty.
Yeah, I mean, where do all these people go?
Again, I'm thinking they're secreted away to some sort of black site. Maybe underground, maybe in the warehouse above ground, but you'll never see them again.
So 2018, Missing People says, Friday the 11th, May 28, someone will be reported missing every 90 seconds.
Good. Excuse me, I can't stop yawning.
There are 340,000 missing incidents every year. 1 in 200
just in this country alone.
Yeah, this is just in the UK. 1 in 200 children goes missing each year, and 1 in every 500 adults goes missing each year.
Well, with the children, that seems to make more sense, because if it is children being kidnapped and raped, then people aren't so interested in raping adults or paying to get an adult secreted so that they can do it. But with the children, that makes more sense. So David Icke was mentioning that torturing children, the adrenochrome that they produce is the best or something.
Yeah.
So they want to torture children, not really adults.
So it's not a massively long article, this one. It's pretty much...
I hate the clickbait adverts you're getting in this article. I mean,
yeah, I know, it's annoying.
The one thing Windows users should do before turning the computer off is it move to Mac or...
For decades, there have been reports of bizarre animal mutilation. These attacks are often linked to the UFO phenomena, but most are unexplained. The government has been approached by a number of investigators and researchers, but they usually get fobbed off. But in recent years, there have been several cases of horrific human mutilation, during which hair, teeth and vital organs are removed, skin is peeled off, mouth and throat cavity stripped, and excised reproductive organs. Worse, most post-mortems reveal all this is done while the victims are still alive. That's what we suspected last time, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Many investigators believe the way that these operations are performed points to some sort of harvesting, as the body parts that are removed are never found. In this video, the narrator provides an update to Dr. Richard Hall's film UFOs and NATO, the Human Mutilation Cover-Up, which looked at claims of human beings suffering surgical mutilation in connection with UFO activity. They described the detailed disclosure of a former military man who worked on find and secure missions in the 1990s. So if you want to just talk about something for a minute, and I'll see if I can find some...
Well, whilst you were reading that out, chat, I've been looking at a website describing the top 10 weird Welsh UFO encounters. And the reason I'm looking at that is because I think it was Uno, a card game, or Fortean Travels. Somebody in the chat said, what about the Brecon Beacons thing? And I looked it up, and that's why I'm now at this Welsh stuff. And they were talking about how in 1909, a thing called a scare ship was spotted. I'm starting to wonder if, like, previous sightings of ghost ships and scare ships, as they call them, is what UFO sightings would have been called. But then after in the 1940s, they get called Foo Fighters and flying saucers. So, because this guy is describing, he was walking along to Lethbridge, and he saw an oval shaped craft just floating. Yeah, because the one I'm reading, it says Cardiff has long been a popular destination for visiting UFOs. In May 1909, scare ships, strange oblong bodies wearing through the sky, were witnessed across the United Kingdom. Perhaps the most unusual sighting was that of a Mr. C. Lethbridge, sometime dock worker, sometime punch and duty cart purveyor. Lethbridge was pushing his punch and duty cart home via Caerphilly Mountain on Tuesday the 16th of May. Lethbridge, while admitting he had a sleever, maintained that he hadn't been drunk when he came across the craft, and 2 young men dressed in heavy fur coats and hats. On seeing him, the men jumped up and jabbered furiously to each other in a strange lingo. Welsh or something. It was certainly not English. Then they got into a kind of little carriage suspended from the craft and rose into the air in a zigzag fashion. Other witnesses to strange craft in the sky were a railway signalman named Robert Westlake, the chauffeur to Archdeacon Bevan in Brecon, and the men working on the SS Arndale. But that doesn't mention about the Brecon beacons.
Yeah, like Uno says, MOD, it's an MOD site, isn't it? The Brecon beacons. It's where the SAS train and stuff, don't they?
Oh, I didn't know that. There we go. Yeah,
also, it's the darkest area in the whole of the UK.
Ah, okay. Did not know that. Well, there you go. I'll explain all this spooky stuff. So yeah, I'm reading ahead, and I'm trying. You see, I just want to encounter. What was this? Oh, here we go. Close encounters of the Klingon kind. Wales is something of a UFO hotspot. There have been over 100 reported sightings in South Wales alone since 2000. In July 2015, Darren Miller, Conservative AM, I assume that's like a member of Parliament, for Cleared West, raised the issue at the Synod, I assume that's Welsh for Senate, asking if the Welsh government was going to do anything about it. The response he received read, and
he could be an Anglican minister, couldn't he? The General Synod is where the Anglican Church meet. The Anglican Church meeting.
Conservative, I assume AM stands for Assembly Member.
Ah, right, yeah, okay.
But it's got, and it hopefully has a translation underneath. But yeah, the Welsh government responded in Klingon saying, Jad Villa Duck Cock, the class. Or for those of us who don't read Klingon, the minister will reply in due course, however, this is a non-devolved matter. So, what they're saying that...
But they're passing the buck back to the British government.
Yeah. Fucking work-shy bastards.
What else you got from that then, Hobbit?
I regret drinking that tap water. Nope. That definitely needed some cleaning out. Crop circles light up my life. What else? Broadhaven Triangle. Derwin Mountain Incident. Let's go with that then. January the 23rd of January 1974, an explosion measuring 3.5 on the Richter scale was felt across the Berwyn Mountains area in North Wales around about 8:30.
Was it beans for tea?
Well, it must have been. Tremors frightened people in the villages of Landrillo and Landerdevell into congregating outdoors, and a brilliant light was seen in the sky with lights of other colours over the mountain. I've heard saying like during earthquakes, like strange lights can be seen in the sky preceding it. With lights fearing an aircraft crash, a search and rescue team was scrambled from RAF Valley on Anglesey. It, like the search organised by local police, found nothing. Ooh, at least not officially, because the Berwyn Mountain incident is Wales' answer to Roswell. It is often claimed to have been the site of a UFO crash and its subsequent cover-up. It's even suggested that the bodies were carried away from the site. A nurse named Pat Evans saw a UFO with flashing lights, but discredited suggestions that she turned back at the order of the military police. That she turned back at the order of the military, police, or that she saw any aliens in the 1990s. Some suspect that she was paid to change her story. Some residents recall a large police and military presence, though outsiders maintain they are confusing 1974 with 1982, when a military aircraft crashed into the mountainside. Either way, outside police presence was on the scene very quickly. Then there's a photograph of the said mountain range. Veteran ufologist Tony Dodd was very interested in the case, and in the 1990s claimed that he had a military source who had seen the humanoid corpses from Berwyn after they had been removed to Porton Down in Wiltshire.
That's the Porton Down is where they do the chemical experiments, don't they?
And the biological. It's an NBC testing biowarfare laboratory. His colleague said the source had transported live beings. This is a really comprehensive write-up of the case here, building on Dodd's assertions. Strange lights were also spotted in Manchester, Norfolk, Edinburgh, Sussex, and Somerset that night. Lights which astronomical researchers ascribe to bull-eyed meteors.
Oh, like a bull. Is that like a bull? Is that like ball lightning?
Well, it's the swamp gas over Venus, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's so bull-eyed meteors. Other natural phenomena.
They want to add to the list. Bull-eyed meteors, aren't they?
Yeah, there we go. Oh, it's even got a helpful hyperlink, so I can click on it. Let's have a look at this. By the way, chat, we got charity. Have we got a suitable number for it? Registered charity 1066. Chairs for racists. I've got a really uncomfortable chair, and I'd like a new chair.
Donate to my Patreon. Donate to my entropy.
You can gift aid your donation, and do stuff like that.
Alternatively, people could donate to my entropy.
Your donation, that's it, and do stuff like that.
Alternatively, people could donate to my entropy.
Other natural phenomena have been put forward to explain the events of the night, as has a possible military operation called Photo Flash, due to take place in the area. This 2001 write-up by Andy Roberts digs more thoroughly into the case against. Whatever the truth of the matter, it doesn't look like the Bowen Mouston incident is going to lose its status as the jewel in the crown of Welsh ufology anytime soon. Ooh. What's a bow-eyed meteor?
Should we do some fun stuff? Keeping It Real said them Valley girls do look like Klingons, to be honest. They also marry their brothers.
Yeah. What, are you saying they're from Uttar Pradesh?
Yeah. Who likes... 14 Travel says, who likes alien porn? Some hot alien on alien action. Backdoor Aliens Volume 3. And then Keeping It Real says Tentacle.
Oh no. Oh, I'll pass on all of that stuff. So a bolide is an extremely bright meteor, and it's Latin for missile. Oh, it's Italian via Latin from the Greek bullis. So yeah, bloody Italians stealing words from the Greeks. Why can't they come up with their own words, these Italians?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Gabagool's Italian. Greeks. So what are you doing, Hobbit? What are you doing currently?
What do you mean? What am I doing?
I'm just trying to keep you on track, Hobbit, before you get too far off track.
Oh, I was going to say I'm doing a show about spooky phenomena and animal mutilations. What are you doing?
Are you looking for something? I thought you were going to tell us what a bull-eyed meteor was.
Oh, well, yeah, there we go. It's a very bright meteor. So there you go. It's swamp gas over Venus.
Is that the new swamp gas over Venus? Have they updated swamp gas over Venus then?
Well, I mean, I really like Wikipedia. Wikipedia's almost as bad as Snopes when it comes to this stuff. So, chat, if you are curious to know what a bolide is spelled Bravo Oscar Lima India Delta Echo, and you can look there, and they've got a gallery. And one of the events in photographs in it is the Tunguska.
Uno says, can you put it in here as a link? I don't know what he wants as a link.
Do I have a spanner, or does my good friend Fremen on the Sand have? Yeah, he does, so I'll post it there.
Yeah.
There we go. Bolide.
I don't think he means that. I think he's talking about what Grim Grenian's talking about. He said, we watched it for ages and filmed it. We even got in the car to get a closer look at it when it eventually disappeared. Because he said he filmed the one over Porthcawl Hundreds, so it was there for ages above the caravan site, and it was in the local paper.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you have to have a spanner for it. And for some reason, Marco Coletti's got a spanner in our chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a mistake. Never mind. No. If you've got something to say, you do it, because I was just curious what a bolide is.
Bolide. I thought you said a bull-eyed meteor. I thought it was a bull-eyed meteor. So I've found a bit about human cattle mutilations. So you've heard about the Dyatlov Pass incident, have you, Hobbit? Oh, you're not really a spooky guy, are you?
Well, I try not to be a spooky guy.
Some Russians went out hiking in what's called the Dyatlov Pass, and they were found like months later in really weird. Like they were found up a tree, half naked, really weird injuries on them and all kinds of stuff like that. That's quite an interesting one. So then they're talking about the Jonathan Lovett incident. Oh, right, that's
okay.
Not a link. That's not
but that's the thing. I'm sorry, I got into a bit of a sidetrack there, because chat, you were telling me about the Brecon Beacons thing, and I wanted to look it up, and seemed to just gone a tangent about stuff in Wales. There was a story which caught my eye here from Beam's investigations about a flying horse. But we'll Brutus, Hemi, do your bit first.
Do you want to do the flying horse? We'll do the flying horse, then we'll talk about some human mutilations.
Yeah, okay. We'll do the flying horse, and it's so this is from Kempston in Bedford from 2007. Julie phoned Beam's HQ on the evening of Sunday, the 8th of July 2007, in a state of nervous excitement to report she had just seen a flying horse going upwards to begin with, then moving across the southern direction.
Your internet's taking a massive dump on you, Hobbit. Oh no, my internet's taking a massive dump on me. You should be alright now, Hobbit. Hold on a sec.
Okay, I'm gonna.
Oh, that's it. You're back now. You're back now, Hobbit. I think it was my internet. Had a bit of
a... to be fair, your internet's almost as good as mine.
Yeah, nearly as good.
As good as yours. Yeah. I was telling Adam yesterday that because of where I live, internet has to be sent out via carrier pigeons.
The packets are sent via carrier pigeon.
They are. They go to the Royal Mail, and it makes searching for pornography an embarrassing affair.
I think the last we heard was then moving across the sky in the direction of nearby Kempston Mill.
Oh, well, there we go. This witness said that she had watched this quite intently for several minutes at least, and is certain it was a big brown horse. According to Julie, the poor beast was moving along at a fairly high altitude, and that she couldn't see what was holding it up. No wires or cradle were visible, and there didn't seem to be anything else above it either. She watched it until gradually the horse was lost from her sight. Later on the same day, Julie was walking down King William Road and bumped into a neighbour whom she knew well, and they got talking. Julie told this young lady what she observed earlier, starting off by saying she probably wasn't going to believe what was said. Let's try this again. Started off by saying she probably wasn't going to believe what she was about to tell her, as it sounds so ridiculous. To Julie's surprise, far from disbelieving her, the neighbour said she had seen the very same thing as well from a garden, and that she immediately ran in to tell her mum about it at the time, who in turn rushed out to see us for herself. Yet the mother found it difficult to accept exactly what this aerial object was, as by then it had moved out of clear view. So that made 3 witnesses at different locations, all left puzzled.
Well, 2 witnesses.
The third witness was like, well, it's something, but I can't tell what it is. We made further inquiries about this, and it transpires that Judy doesn't drink or take medications and is not prone to hallucinating. Don't believe in such things, question mark. Well, have a look at this video from below from another case. Best viewed directly on YouTube using max settings.
Yeah, I'm just playing it now.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, I don't really trust this. I don't really trust this, like, internet videos. Do
you? You know what? We need who's that name? Ian, the guy who tells us about the Loch Ness monster and disabuses me of all my preconceived notions of it. But
Oh,
yeah,
I don't know. It's an internet video, so I'm not 100% convinced.
oh, look at that clickbait on the side. The world's only female autistic savant twins. You know what? I'm going to look that up right now. I mean, I know that's not Fortean, but the world's only. Oh no, there's another video I want to see, but I'm going to have to watch afterwards. Oh, there we go. The world's only autistic savant twins. It must have a microphone. Yeah, I'm pretty convinced it's using the microphones to record what I'm saying.
Does that mean the Savant twins, do they have their own language or something like that?
It just says, from the moment they were born, Flo and Kay Lyman were unlike any sisters on planet Earth. Thought to be mentally retarded, they were tormented by kids. What no one realized is Flo and Kay are amongst the most brilliant people the world has ever seen. This is the untold story of the only identity. Wouldn't it be brilliant if I watched this video and they are actually like seeing UFO sightings, and because they're like supremely gifted, they can like photorealistically draw what they've seen. But it's like a whole hour long, so I'm not going to watch that now.
So, the Jonathan Lovett incident is one of the most bizarre on record. While on a search and retrieve mission in New Mexico in March 1956. How's that for Spooky Hobbit?
Yeah,
Sergeant Jonathan Lovett and Major William Cunningham seemingly ran into something other than the missile debris they were searching for. Cunningham had returned to the US Army base wild with fright and a tale even wilder. Lovett was dead. He had gone to investigate a sand dune in the New Mexico desert, vanishing for a moment from his sight. Then he heard the screams. I mean, it's funny this happens in isn't New Mexico where they used to test the nuclear weapons?
Yeah, there's like, was it 2 bombs have been set off in New Mexico?
Because I know Clive Barker in the Great and Secret Show did a bit about that's where there's a gap between the worlds there in New Mexico.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I also heard there was like the Davy Crockett nuclear artillery. Because that does sound pretty fun. They tested that in New Mexico as well.
So rushing over to the dune, Cunningham stated a huge silver disc hovered over Lovett. Now caught in the grip of a snake-like creature, it dragged the young sergeant on board the airborne vehicle. Before Cunningham could act, the creature had achieved his aim and both Lovett and the craft vanished. Most fully expected Cunningham to face murder charges, and he probably would have if it hadn't been for the eventual discovery of Lovett's body, that is. It contained a vast array of injuries and wounds, including the removal of the eyes, ears and tongue. Every drop of blood had already been removed from the carcass. The short video below looks at the Dyatlov Pass incident, perhaps one of the first mutilation cases on record. Is
that the one which is near? Is it called Kolat in Russia, where you've got the Russian Stonehenge and strange, spooky things happen?
Yeah, and what happened was a group of university type kids went hiking through there one summer, and they weren't found until the spring, and they had horrific injuries. So there's the Guaraparinga Reservoir Man and Abel Boro. I assume that's in South America. In 1988, at the Guarapinga Reservoir in Brazil, came the grim discovery of an unknown man. He had injuries that were almost identical in nature to those found on mutilated cattle. He had injuries... reading the same line. Initial autopsy results indicated him being dead for several days. However, there were little, if any, signs of decomposition to the body. Can you see those pictures of it?
Yeah, because I'm thinking to myself, they've all been exsanguinated.
Yeah,
and I'm thinking. I mean, I'm not sure if they've given them an enema as well, but the main sources where you've got bacteria in the body are the skin, the shit in the gastrointestinal tract, and the blood.
The injuries were horrific as they were precise. His corpse was completely drained of blood, while his entire body bore purposeful removal of skin samples. On top of this, his tongue was neatly removed, as were his eyes and ears. Still to this day, the man's identity is unknown, and the case is one of the most brutal on record. 7 years earlier, in 1981, also in Brazil, the area of Panorama, a similar incident concerned. On this occasion, there was no doubt, at least according to the witness, of a connection to strange UFO sightings. The whole area was awash with reports of strange objects in the skies. Locals were referred to these strange aerial sightings as tupas, who would search the ground below with strange searchlights. Abel Boro would witness one of these crafts close up. Unfortunately for him, it'd be the last thing he'd see. Along with his friend Riva Mar Ferreira, they noticed a spinning circular object above them. In a matter of seconds, it zeroed in on Boro and ejected a bright light that washed over his body. By the time Ferreira returned with help, Boro was dead. His body was devoid of every last drop of blood. Short video below features Butch Witkowski speaking about just some of the other suspected human mutilation cases on record. So, Thatcher and Reagan's cover-up programme, so it says here. So while the aforementioned cases were all horrific in equal measure, they are generally regarded as one-off and very strange encounters. Some, however, claim these are just the tip of the iceberg, and that this is happening all over the planet with everyday people. Rumours of a human mutilation cover-up have swelled in the UFO community for some time. In the mid-1990s, reporter Derek Goff came in possession of documents and information via an anonymous UK military source who worked on secret projects for NATO and the US military. Essentially, governments were covering up these human mutilation cases. The source was part of a top-secret unit alert to UFO visitations. They would ensure the area was protected during their brief stay. It was then their job, wherever possible, to recover any human corpses and hand them over to the US military. Officially, the dead people recovered would remain on record as missing. This response team, according to the source, came into being through Thatcher's government. In response to Ronald Reagan's request, they were on constant call and reachable at all times. Helicopters were always on standby to take the unit wherever required. What's more, the people that gave the unit their orders not only had a head knowledge of UFO activity, but of such activity that would result in animal or human mutilations.
Yeah,
Into
I mean,
that then, Hobbit.
Well, I mean, one of the things we were talking about prior to the show, and I haven't tied it into this yet. I think because the thing is that this is more than just a ritualistic murder, as usually they're quite bloody, those things. And as a number of people have said, these cuts are so precise, I couldn't do it with a very sharp knife, and certainly not with as cleanly, because there is no blood in this. But I suspect that some sort of, I mean, yeah, harvesting's going on, but to what ends, I can't say. Now, the thing is with like a ritualistic murder or a sacrifice, like with ritual slaughter, the animal's throat is slit, so the blood comes out, and they do this while the animal's alive, which causes a lot of adrenaline to course through the bodies, which sours the meat. So the food doesn't taste as good, and plus it makes it a lot tougher because all the muscles are getting tightening up from a terror response and from the pain. And I even heard it apparently in kosher it's referred to as purification through pain. So you want the animal's death to be a slow lingering one for maximum suffering. And these ones where they're draining the blood is similar to that, except it's a lot more precise. So I don't know what's going on there, but the fact is, whatever's doing these mutilations is able to get to the area completely unseen. They're able to clinically remove the blood from the victim, and then they do these really precise incisions. Once you're done with that story, Hemi, there's one I've read about cattle mutilation in Australia, which sort of further confirms and corroborates with what you're saying here.
If there's only a couple of paragraphs left. So Goff attempted to pass his information on to the police, including several photographs of such mutilated corpses. They removed the pictures from his possession, although for his own safety he'd made copies of them. Shortly after, he received several threatening phone calls regarding the claims he was making. He also suffered a strange fire to the office at his property. Now frightened for his safety, Goff passed what he had left of the documents and information on to retired police officer and UFO researcher Tony Dodd. Dodd made contact with the source. Their conversation resulted in the book Alien Investigations in 1999. Another researcher, Richard Hall, that's Rich Planet, isn't it, Richard Hall?
Yeah, that is Rich Hall.
Yeah, has also conducted extensive research into this subject. During this, he has verified that Goff, and in turn Dodd's source, was very real. In short, as strange and chilling as the claims are, they appear to have more truth in them than most would want to believe. As well as regular activity in the Brecon Beacons in Wales, regular grim discoveries occur in Dalby Forest in Yorkshire. We have written before how the Yorkshire moors are a UFO hotspot of sorts. However, these mutilations, according to the research so far, are happening everywhere. 2 videos below look at these allegations in more detail. First video is an in-depth look at Richard Hall's investigations into human mutilations. Second is a talk given by Hall on the subject. Make of them what you will. That's the end of that one.
Yeah, it's... Oh yeah, that's Rich Hall. I haven't listened to Rich Hall in years, to be fair. I mean, wasn't there another guy I got him mixed up with?
No, that's the one. Rich Planet, isn't he?
Yeah, that's it.
There's the comedian, isn't there? Isn't he Rich Hall as well?
Or is that Richard D. Hall?
That's Richard D.
That was it. Yeah. But this next article, Howie, it's called "Dead Cows Found in Paddock." No, it's got a different title when you post the link. It's Australian Cattle Mutilations 2018.
Hey, do you want to chuck it in the Mutilations channel, or have you chucked?
Oh, I've chucked it in general.
Right, I've got it.
Very, very good of me, wasn't it? Yeah, so it says a North Queensland couple has been left baffled by a bizarre finding on their property, which seems like something straight from a horror film. Graziers, I assume that's like a cattle equivalent for shepherd, Mick and Judy Cook were working on their property in Clovelly, northwest of Mackay, where Mr. Cook noticed a dead cow carcass, which appeared to have its body mutilated, with its entire udder, ears, and tongue removed. I mean, they do seem to like going for the ears, don't they? I'm wondering if that's a trophy.
It does seem like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was like it had been surgically removed. I certainly couldn't do as neat a job with a very sharp knife, and it definitely wasn't an animal, Mr. Cook said. I thought at first it might have been poisoned, but then I got closer. I saw body parts missing. There was no blood, even where the parts had been removed, no sign of struggle, just dead. There was just no reason or rhyme for it to be done the way it was done. People don't use those parts. It's just not something you would wish on your worst enemy. Well,
it sounds like he's hinting that the thing was still alive as well, then, isn't he?
Well, yeah. It just the thing is saying no sign of struggle, just dead. To me, suggests that the organs are harvested post mortem. Because if you try and harvest like ears or tongue, or you try to remove an udder whilst the animal's alive, it's going to make a lot of noise. There's going to be signs of struggle, and there's going to be a lot of blood. He says, on the same trip, Mr. Cook said he travelled down a little further on his property, about an hour's drive from his house on rough terrain. Bloody hell, that's a big property, isn't it? Where he found another dead cow. The second one looked like it had been there for some time. By that point, we were probably 2 hours from your nearest neighbour. It's very mountainous country. There's no way anyone can get there unless they come straight past our house. When I got down there, I noticed another carcass. This one was a bit more deteriorated, looked like it'd been rotting there for a bit. We don't know how it happened, but we got onto the neighbours just to let them know. Local veterinarian David Lemon said in his 40 years work in the industry, often with livestock, he had never heard or seen anything like it. I deal with everything, you know, all creatures great and small, and I can't think of any explanation for it. That's not normal human behaviour, is it? That's something quite bizarre and ill. I would say the person that has done this is not mentally stable. We're talking eyes, ears, udders. No, I've never heard of anything like that ever. That's something or someone that's very ill who's done that. I mean, it's just assuming that it's someone that's done it.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, something. In a statement, Queensland police said not to have been notified about the cow mutilations. However, Mr. and Mrs. Cook said they have attempted to contact local police unsuccessfully. I mean, there's a photograph here of a dead cow with its udder, ears, and tongue removed, and what looks like entrails sticking out. According to Mr. Cook, he and his wife came across 2 dead cows with their udders removed around the same time about 10 years prior. I didn't think much about it at the time. We didn't really say anything about it, he said. We just thought it was a bit strange, let it go and put it to the back of our minds. But when we saw it again just recently, we decided to tell someone. We came back later and my daughter tried to do some research. She found a YouTube link to other similar stories. They basically said other people around the world have been finding similar cases since the 75, starting in Yankee Land. It's even
Yankee Land.
Well, you know, good old Australia.
Thanks, Aussie, mate. In Yankee Land.
It's even left our police confused. Cases of cow mutilation and murder. Oh, hang on. Cases of cow mutilation and murders have been reported around the world for over 4 decades, where carcasses found, sometimes 1 or 2, sometimes dozens, with body parts such as ears, lips, eyes, noses, anuses, and genitalia removed with surgical precision. Speculation surrounding who or what might be responsible for the killings and mutilations range from satanic worshippers, not Satan worshippers, but satanic worshippers. Worshippers that are satanic? Come on, just call them Satan worshippers, and government agents to aliens. In the mid-70s, the American FBI launched an investigation into the widespread cow deaths. However, were unable to offer a conclusion, stating that their investigation was hindered by a lack of jurisdiction.
What do you mean lack of jurisdiction? Right. They're the Federal Bureau of Investigations.
Yeah, I mean, it's, what? Do they not have jurisdiction in New Mexico or Arizona? While no solution has been confirmed to date, some scientists have also attempted to justify the findings, stating that they could simply be ordinary decomposition or even fuck off.
Yeah, because
it's not carrying animals.
Eyes and ears disappear, don't they, normally? And is that how cows decompose? Their ears disappear?
Well, I know that crows will go for the eyes because they're juicy, but they don't surgically remove an ear which is full of cartilage or the anus. It's bullshit. Animals such as vultures, Tasmanian devils, and coyotes often eat soft tissue body parts first, which could explain why parts of the mouth, tongue, anus, and eyes are often the parts are missing. Cows surgically precision mutilate with no blood around it. Mate, just stop grasping at straws.
Yeah, I like the bit when they go, well, there's no, but blood, it just disappears when an animal dies anyway. It just evaporates when an animal dies anyway.
The animals were really good. They licked up all the blood until it clotted. That's why, even though there's no signs of blood clotting. Scientists, no, I should just say, Snopes enthusiasts have also
people in white coats.
Yeah, the white coat brigade have also explained that when an animal dies, blood will naturally begin to clot and coagulate, creating the appearance that it disappeared. They weren't, however, able to offer an explanation for the mass number of cow deaths over the years. For now, it remains a mystery.
Oh, they found something they couldn't just explain away then.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, don't people need to explain stuff away either? It just to me sort of describes like, can you explain the need to explain everything?
No matter how poor the explanation, that's the bit that amazes me. It's just like some of these explanations, they're like worse than like they're less likely than actual mutilation, aren't they?
Well, the main thing that bothered me, because I mean, say what you want about the events in the 11th of September 2001, but even if the pancake theory was correct, you would have the central core of those towers still standing erect, as if the floors collapse, then that's one thing, but the floors are attached to a central column, which is solid steel and concrete. I mean, the floors I can imagine collapsing one after another, but it didn't happen that way. So that's the official government conspiracy theory of how it happened. And it's just, it leaves me in a mystery. Why did it all turn to dust? Why did the first responders who were at the scene saying it sounded like a bunch of explosions, like when they blew up a casino in Las Vegas? But anyway, we're talking about cattle mutilations, not about other mysteries which people want to explain.
Yeah.
Uno says, for whatever reason, this was hidden by YouTube. You're meant to have a tacit mind. Apparently, that's naughty to say, having a tacit mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what meant to have a tacit mind is. I mean, I've heard like a tacit regard to something. You know what? I don't know what the word tacit means.
It's one of those. It's one of those words. I know.
A tacit response I've heard before.
Yeah.
So it's like also like a tacit response to cattle mutilations is, well, you know, it's scavenger creatures.
Expressed or carried on without words or speech.
Oh, okay. Tacit response.
Understood without being openly expressed.
Oh, I see. So when I'm thinking to myself, yeah, this is aliens, isn't it? Or, you know, some sort of weird creature that's not human. That's my tacit response to seeing this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Now I've learned what tacit means. Well, if there's one thing that can be gleaned from this, what is going to be a 2-part mystery series, I've learned what tacit means. So, you know, we've all got to come away with something, audience, and you can rest assured tonight that hobbits learnt a word.
Hobbits learnt a word.
Yeah, I learnt a word.
What's this one? Yeah. I'm gonna have a look at this. Critical Believers Pro boards. See what that one. Oh
well, once you're done with that, I want to focus back on whales because there's yet more sheep mutilations.
Oh, go on then. Crack on.
All right, this one's great because the headline is "Unexplained sheep attacks caused by aliens and UFOs." Farmers claim a series of bizarre incidents involving sheep in Shropshire have led to farmers' claims that aliens are attacking their livestock and they're taking organs out using lasers. That's what I saw. So I'll post this in Mutilations.
Yeah.
And that's why, because farmers in England witnessed UFO projecting laser beam onto sheep. They have linked the unexplained incidents where sheep's brains and eyes were removed to the mysterious orange lights in the sky seen throughout the world, added by Colin Andrews. That's not a link, so I can't click on that. Farmers near Shrewsbury claim to have witnessed sheep being lasered by unidentified light from UFOs. That's where sheep's brains and eyes were removed to the mysterious orange lights in the sky. They have found sheep with neat holes where their brains and other internal organs were removed. Other animals have lost eyes and had their flesh carefully stripped away, usually on the left side. The UFOs were found to have roamed a 50-mile corridor between Shrewsbury and Powys. Mr. Hoyle and 15 members of the Animal Pathology Field Unit claimed they witnessed UFOs at work last month while working during the night at a Welsh Hill farm near Radnor Forest. The technology involved in the attacks is frightening, he told The Sun. These lights and spheres are clearly not ours. They are built by technology and intelligence not from here. Well, certainly not from Wales.
Well, I can't remember. What was the phrase the FBI used? It was something about unlimited resources or something like that. Do you remember that in that FBI thing we read last week?
That was it. He says whoever was able to do this was able to do it with secrecy and has got access to a level of technology and resources that wouldn't be, you know, just the act of like some teenager listening to Cradle of Filth or Marilyn Manson or whatever the 1970s equivalent would be.
Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Yeah. Jefferson Starship.
Yeah.
Hey, I didn't know this, right? But you know Jefferson Airplane is the same band that was Jefferson Starship.
Yeah, I think I knew that.
Well, I
Which
didn't know
became Starship, which sang "We Built This City," didn't they?
Yeah, and We Built This City is a great song, but I'm just thinking of the very sort of synth pop riff in it, and it doesn't sound like Jefferson Airplane, which is apparently people complaining about it because how dare a band evolve their sound?
How very dare they sound different to when I last heard them.
Well, it's just like people complain about Jean-Michel Jarre or Gary Newman sounding different now to back then because, are they not using the same instruments they were using back in the early 80s? Yeah, because they want to try new instruments. How dare they?
Uno says, Hobbit, you're the best.
Oh, well, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Hemi, so...
Uses a word like tacit and then can't use the right "you're" when he says "Hobbit, you're the best."
Well, in the words of Mrs. Doll, you're not the best. You're the second best.
You're the best around.
So the technology involved in these attacks is frightening. For a short while, it looked more like a Star Wars battle. So bear in mind, this guy is not, just someone who's had a skinful at the local pub. It's
he could have used an Anglo reference and said Moonraker, couldn't he?
Yeah, he could have. Yeah,
he could have said it was like that bit in Moonraker, the really crap bit at the end, which really ruined it.
Well, people say about how Moonraker was really over the top for James Bond, but what about that Sean Connery one where the villain is swallowing up satellites in his Munchie spacecraft?
It's the Munchie spacecraft.
The Pac-Man spacecraft. It opens up and it swallows up the other satellites.
Is that Thunderball? Is it?
It could have been Thunderball. Yeah. Next day, he interviewed farmers and said all but one had some type of unusual disappearance of animals or deaths with strange injuries. He told the paper. That's a Daily Telegraph article. Yeah. So,
what exactly would they? What exactly would they need? Like an anus core, udders, sexual organs, and ears and eyes for?
Well, I'm thinking like these aliens may have some equivalent of autism or obsessive compulsive disorder. Well, you know how there's like some hoarders which collect like newspapers or bottle caps
or bottles of piss.
Yeah. I'm thinking in this case they may just be like, got to harvest the anus and make sure to get his ears. Yes, skin the left side of his head. Yeah. You've got to skin the left side of the head. Can't be the right side.
Yeah,
it's got to be the left side head. Oh, did you get all their blood first? Got to get out the blood. I don't like cutting them if they've got blood in them. Oh no.
What?
No, Rob, that's wrong. Sounds like Woes is on the loose again. No. Woes isn't as bad as people make out. Woes did nothing wrong.
Is the implement they're actually using on these animals, is it a god rod?
Or rods from God.
Rods from God.
You know what? Until proven otherwise, I'm going to say Millennial Woes did nothing wrong. He clearly just listened to like the stories Brutus and I were talking about when I go to the pub, and decided to, I can do that too. I can walk up and talk to women.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's all he did. He went up and talked to women, which in this country, if you're white and walk up to women, well, no, I don't want to get political. This is my woo-woo show.
Yeah, this is the woo-woo show.
It's the woo-woo show. And we've got more on this article. It carries on below. It says, unexplained sheep attacks caused by aliens and UFOs, claim experts. So it's from the same region of Radnor Forest, going from Radnor Forest to Shrewsbury. Over the past 12 years, there have been many reports of animal deaths in Powys. And in 2001, UFO hunters established the Animal Pathology Field Unit, a non-profit making organization committed to carrying out research into the animal mutilation mystery. The team is linking the mutilations, including the removal of sheep brains and eyes, to the increased sightings of mysterious red and orange spheres in the sky. Spheres. Last
So
weekend,
all these people that got abducted by aliens and given back, then they were fucking lucky, were they?
Well, it sounds like it. But I mean, all right, I can't help but because I mean the world we live in, we're submerged in this stuff, right? I want to make a brief statement about you've got people who would be described as schizophrenics because, or paranoid schizophrenics for the way they act. And I believe they could be right saying like, they got abducted by aliens and they put implants in their brain. And that's why they occasionally mutilate themselves to try and get the implants out. And I'm thinking to myself, surely like an MRI or an X-ray scan would reveal the presence of these or not. And when they start mutilating themselves to try and get these implants out, people say, well, you're a paranoid schizophrenic, you need to be sectioned, you're clearly not well because you're doing self-harm. And yet, if someone says, yeah, my genitals are wrong, they should be an innie when they're actually an outie, they're not called mentally unstable. And in fact, surgeons do horrible animal mutilation experiments on them, which later end up in them committing suicide because they realize what a horrible mistake they've made.
Yeah.
And in fact, they had no implants. Well, sometimes they get breast implants. But yeah. Oh dear. Yeah. But no, I sorry, I wanted to make that point because, you know, we say these people who have had, and I believe some of them, I don't think they're all attention seeking. They've had these experiences and, you know, they're trying to tell people, look, this has happened to me and I've got these implants and it's beaming voices into my head and I know these voices aren't mine, but I can't shut them up. I'm willing to give these people a lot of credence in what they're saying. Are they the lucky ones? Well, they survived, but they're not lucky because imagine, you know, you or I sort of telling people, look, there's voices in my head. I mean, I'd be in the loony bin as sooner than you can say white supremacist neo-Nazi.
So do you think the tracking, they literally just like, it's like a fucking natural history thing where they just track people so they can find them again, like we do with whales?
Yeah, I mean it's a GPS locator, and I'm guessing when it goes missing, they start investigating their house and put another one in.
Yeah.
But so going back to this thing about the red and orange spheres in the sky, 53-year-old Phil Hoyle of Shrewsbury has spent 9 years probing the riddle of livestock found killed in Powys. And I keep meaning to go to Shrewsbury because they got a red brick castle there. Maybe I'll ask them about, you know,
Mutilations.
Stuff. Well, I'll have to ask in a diplomatic fashion because I imagine if I just start talking to strangers in Shrewsbury, it's like, you there, do you know anything about animal mutilations? They'll tell me to bugger off.
Have you ever seen an animal with its bum cord out?
Yeah. Have you noticed these animals
there,
have been
yokel.
exsanguinated?
Hey, you there, yokel. Have you ever seen an animal with its bum cord out?
Would you like to see some video evidence I've here of an exsanguinated sheep? So here we go. He says, Phil Hoyle Shrewsbury spent 9 years probing the riddle of livestock found killed in Powys, and in 2001 co-founded the Animal Pathology Unit. Things kicked off really early, and no, they're not from the West Country, are they? I don't know what a Salopian sounds like. They're quite well-to-do, aren't they? But they're Northerners. So what does a posh Northerner sound like? Things kicked off really early, and just after 10 p.m., my colleague spotted a bright burnt red light hanging over an isolated ravine near a highly forested area known as New Radmore, near the Radnodshire Forest. Radnodshire? Oh, I didn't know there was a county called Radnodshire. At first, the light was from an isolated farmhouse or dwelling, but it soon became clear this light was hovering. It also had company because an identical red sphere appeared in the bottom right of the first light about a quarter of a mile away. The lights kept changing shape and emitting beams of light and small spheres, which covered large areas of distance in a blink of an eye. At times, the spheres would morph into different shapes firing beams to the ground and discharging small spheres which darted backwards and forwards across the valley floor as though they were looking for something. During the sighting, beams of light would be fired out of the forest and small spheres traveling across open fields. Yes, you said small spheres a number of times. We could not discern where these beams were coming from or who or what may have generated them. But
Buy a goddamn thesaurus, man.
Yeah. But for a short while, it looked more like the crap bit from Moonraker by two opposing forces.
The crap bit
At one point in the sighting, the two red spheres disappeared from the valley below, only to reappear to our right, just behind a small hill where we were camped. Then suddenly an intense narrow white beam passed down the hill just behind us, and at times we thought the red spheres not only knew where we were, but they were watching us. These spheres are clearly not Chinese lanterns and do not conform to any known conventional aircraft.
BS-88. Don't conform to BS-88.
Yes. And do not conform to any known conventional aircraft or meteorological manifestations. Therefore, they are swamp gas from Venus.
Ball lightning. We know this of it, don't we?
Yeah. It's swamp gas from Venus with the ball lightnings.
Yeah.
Phil says the UFOs like to roam a specific 50-mile corridor between Shrewsbury and Palais. Below Dartmoor and the Forest of Dean in Gloucestershire are also hunting grounds. Sheep have been found with neat hull. Sorry, that is how they spell it. Sheep have been found with neat hull and their brains and other internal organs
Sheep have been found with neat hull.
Sheep have been found with neat hull and brains and other internal organs removed. Yeah, one time's up. Anyone with information regarding the animal mutilation mystery or sightings of unconventional craft can contact Phil Hoyle by sending an email to phil.hoyle@yahoo.co.uk or by calling the number 01743 245574. That's 01743 245574. All information will be treated in strict confidence. Don't ring him up and take the piss, okay? Don't say, "Oh, Hobbit was making fun of your voice." I was just getting a bit bored with him saying spheres over and over again, so I thought I'd give him a funny voice.
Send him a thesaurus or something.
Yes, they're a non-profit organisation, so if you send them a thesaurus, they will appreciate it.
Yeah. And if they're regular listeners to the show, they'll get the joke.
We've almost done 2 hours, Hemi. Is there anything we want to say in conclusion? Because
I was going to talk about the Croydon Cacula, but I think that's a bigger case, so we'll do that another time.
Is this going to be a part 2.5 or part 3? Is it?
No, I think we'll put a pin in it there.
Yeah. There's nothing I can really say in conclusion to this. It's the more I look into this, the more questions I have, which I suppose is the good thing of any mystery, really. But there will come a point at which I start exhausting the evidence, and then at which point, I don't know, move on to new pastures, really.
So are we going to try and do a bit of a conclusion on this one then, Hobbit? What's your opinion on it all?
Oh, that was my conclusion, mate. Do I have an opinion on this?
You can't deny it's happening, can you?
No, you certainly can't deny it's happening. I'm curious to know about the logistics of removing blood from a creature with, this sort of thing. The animal mutilation. That's it, chat. Remember last part 1 of this, we were talking about the cow whose blood had a strange pink substance to it, and we weren't sure what it was. I think that's a homogeneous mixture of fat and blood. And why you got fat in the cow's blood is maybe because it's been microwaved. The reason I say that is because its organs were described as being really mushy, with the consistency of peanut butter. And the reason I know that blood is pink when it's got fat in it is because a blood sample was taken from a fatty, morbidly obese, as they said, and it was more fat content than it was blood. It had been centrifuged so that the fat had separated, and it was just pink in colour. which leads me to think that, next time I go and get a blood sample taken, how much of it will be gravy and how much of it will be blood.
So, what about the origin? You kind of the one wacky theory I thought about this. Could the aliens be trying out like teleportation techniques when it's like fucking up?
What? So they're like teleporting certain organs, or so? I mean, that could be a thing. It could be like they're teleporting very specific parts of the body.
Yeah.
Well, I am wondering if they actually like if they are just using like a really sharp scalpel to remove these parts. But
I think they'd be
blood first.
I think they'd be cutting with a laser for it to be that. Then again, it'd be cauterized, wouldn't it, if it was done with a laser?
Yeah, you would see signs of this, but the thing is, we don't know about it. And the other thing is, I've seen lasers which are very clever, like a carbon dioxide laser. Unfortunately, it costs $500,000, so it's not saying you or I.
Well, the aliens are all right for a few quid because they just travel forward in time and win the lottery, don't they?
Well, that's it. But this carbon dioxide laser, it's great for removing rust. You just beam it at a rusty piece of steel or iron and just watch the rust just evaporate, and it doesn't heat up the steam underneath. And the operator was even shining the laser beam on his hand, showing it was completely unscathed. So I don't know much about lasers. I don't know how something so powerful that can vaporize rust would leave flesh unharmed. But there could be something like that which doesn't boil blood but completely strips flesh. It's I've got more questions than answers after having done this one. So yeah. I don't know about you, Hemi, but
so what did you think? What did you think of it going into it? Did you know anything about this subject before you started?
No, it seemed very weird, and I thought to myself, I'll have to see the evidence. I know very little about it because I didn't look into it. I just thought, that sounds like one of those woo-woo things, which there's little evidence to say what's going on and why would anybody do this. I mean, yeah, there are examples of people which abuse and harm animals, and I've seen animal abuse before.
There have been quite a few. There have been quite a few spates of like horses, kind of like very much like normal people, just attacking them, hasn't there?
That's the thing. I even wondered, like, once. One example. I don't want to get too doxy into it, but I reckon the stable owner owed some unscrupulous individuals some money, and they hamstrung one of his prize horses so that it couldn't be used for racing anymore. And the thing is, I remember, even though it was the day afterwards and the blood had clotted, there was a lot of blood.
Yeah.
I was cleaning up the stable afterwards, and I was just like, wow, I didn't know horses had that much blood in them.
Yeah.
Oh, Uno a card game says, what about hunting to seal mutilated in a corkscrew fashion off the coast of Ipswich somewhere? We did do it last week.
We did do that one, corkscrew. I don't know what corkscrew fashion is.
Yeah, I don't know. Rob Calvert says Sicilians have been known to eat horse meat. French have been known to eat horse meat. Even hobbits have been known to eat horse meat. And back about 10 years ago, there was that thing with a lasagna with a horse meat as well. And my dad reckons that loads of people in the UK have eaten horse meat because it probably ended up in beef mince. And he says, oh, what about that time we had that meat and it seemed a bit chewy? And I was like, well, it could have been horse meat. Or alternatively, it could have been like heart or other really hard bits of organ meat.
It kind of reminds me of that when the Irishman dude goes to his Irish butcher. He sees these minced chicken sausages, and they're like really cheap. They're like cheaper than pork sausages. He says, "How can you do minced chicken so cheap?" He said, "It's easy." He says, "I'll put a little bit of horse meat in there. I'll do it dead fair. One chicken, one horse."
Oh, I like that.
Horse meat, why the long face? And I think we'll finish on that one, don't you think, Hobbit?
Yeah, okay.
From 14
Tune in next week for 14 words.
For 14